A year ago this week, Jane Taylor was rescued from the rubble after a magnitude 6.1 earthquake collapsed hundreds of buildings in Christchurch.
The veranda basically fell on top of me, together with a lot of the parapets and boulders and everything just fell on top of me.
The 54-year-old had terrible injuries, but after 3 months hospitalized, she's fully mobile again and enjoys family life. She'd been on the job at a women's clothing store in the Cashel Street Mall when the quake hit. Businesses are operating again there, but out of containers. And the memory of the 185 who died is never very far away, even if people are adapting to the massive shock and the changed landscape that has followed. The luxury Crown Plaza Hotel is one of 1,200 buildings being demolished in the city's so-called red zone, deemed too unstable to repopulate. But there's a group that hopes to transform many cleared areas to serve a positive purpose. Greening the rubble, workers are planting gardens and creating recreational spaces. Overall, Deputy Mayor Nairi Button is hopeful while still aiming to be realistic.
We've got to remember that the recovery and the rebuild is really a 50-year process. And most of us in my generation won't see the end of it. But I think for where we're at in the recovery, the length of time since the event, I think we're recovering really well.
Much of the rebuilding in the province of Canterbury is taking place in satellite communities like Halswell. Despite the magnitude of the disaster and the continuing aftershocks, the population has dropped less than 2.5%. Jane Taylor is staying.
You just don't turn your back on all that kindness and all that giving, and Canterbury's just is where our heart is and where we're going to stay and where our future will be.
Others, too, say people caring for each other appears to be a legacy of the Christchurch quake. Karen Sloan, The Associated Press.